Welcome to the Cyber Evolution podcast, conversations about all things cybersecurity, and more specifically, how you can start your new career in this booming industry. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cyber Evolution podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Hewitt, CEO of Cyber Evolution, and today I'm joined by a current student of ours, Cameron Rogers. Cameron, how are you?
Not too bad. Thanks, Adam. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Thanks for joining. And I wanted to get you on, Cameron, because not only obviously you're a great guy and you're a very good student, but it is a bit of a celebration. You know, it's something that I wanted to get you on because you've also just recently accepted a role with one of our placement partner companies, CyberCX. Congratulations.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, it's very exciting. Good way to end of the year and a good way to start the new year coming up as well.
Exactly right, mate. It's exciting. So well done. Before we get into the details of all of that, which we will do, I just want to give the new listeners of our podcast a little bit of an overview of who we are, but more importantly, who this podcast is for if you're listening for the first time. So Cyber Evolution, we're Australia's only dedicated cybersecurity training and placement organisation. Basically, we help people find their first jobs in cybersecurity, just like we have done with Cameron. And the reason we started a podcast is mainly just to educate people. We've been in this industry now for years and years. We've been doing it for a long time, and we've helped hundreds of people land their first job. But still, and you would attest to this, Cameron, we still get so many people coming to us each day, hearing about this cool, interesting, booming industry called cybersecurity, but they've got absolutely no idea what it is or how to actually, get their first job within the space. So the point of the podcast is to break down some common misconceptions and barriers and really just educate people on what the industry is and how they can land their first job in cybersecurity. Perfect. All right, Cameron, let's get into it. I want to start with where I do with all of our guests or all of our student guests, and that is from the very beginning. Before you actually decided to join Cyber Evolution, what were you doing and what made you start to think about a career change into cybersecurity?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for going through it. With my background, I'd always worked in a implementation and project space in IT. And a lot of that was around the training and development and also implementation of new systems for a lot of our customers, primarily with lawyers. So it's a really good industry that kind of works with cybersecurity itself as well, with all the information that is held. So in terms of that, I'd always thought about where all this information was being stored, how can we make it safer? And that really got me into thinking, what courses can I start to take in terms of understanding my knowledge and building that up to then bring that knowledge across for other people to understand as well. So that was really where I started thinking about where my next steps in my career are going to be taken. And that really landed me into cybersecurity itself.
Great, man. And so why cybersecurity? Was there anything specific that jumped out at you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'd worked with a lot of different law firms, a lot of different people with a lot of different information, and security is one of the biggest things that we saw. So a lot of personal information was being held in those firms, and I really wanted to be on the front foot of making sure that information is secure. So being able to look after a person's information, but also being able to stop those people trying to infiltrate it and gain that for, less than good intentions.
Yep. Okay. So you had a bit of a sneak peek already in the current role that you're in. And I'm assuming as well, you probably heard a little bit on the news, and you heard about this new thing called cybersecurity, and it was a bit of a booming industry. Is that right?
Absolutely. It'd been in the news, but it also hadn't been something that was really discussed for the last few years. It's really started to boom over the last couple of years. So before that, it hadn't been too much of it on everyone's mind. And then you started to see things that happened along the lines of, the Optus attack, Medibank attack, and, just thinking about that information that they've gained from there. Yep. It's such an intense industry to be in, and given now that everyone's throwing a lot of detail to it, it's a great industry to be in and learn whilst there's so much going on.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I think this is just the start of that the wave of cybersecurity. We talk about the skills shortage and everything, and I think that's going to be around for a long, long time. So it's exciting that you kind of, you're getting onto the wave early. And it's good, that you took the initiative and you saw that it was going to be a booming industry. You saw snippets of it in your other role, decided to do a little bit of research, obviously, heard about it on the news. And then what I'm guessing is potentially Facebook did their thing because you were searching it and algorithms, came into play, and you might have seen us somewhere on social media. Like, what talk us through the journey of finding us and why you chose Cyber Revolution as the organization to help get you a job.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd actually already begun my master's in cybersecurity, and I'd actually seen the ad for Cyber Revolution on Instagram.
Yep.
So what I really wanted to do was to link with those that are in the industry and have a good grasp of what to do, what to learn, and to further my skill set as well. Because the information that I was really looking at was getting that hands-on experience and also having some mentors to guide me in how to get to the next steps. I was scrolling Instagram one night, saw the ad, put down all my details, and another Cameron that works with you guys, reached out to me. So we got discussing on what the next steps would be.
Might have been Cameron Bell. Shout out to Cameron Bell.
That's the one.
Yeah,
one and only.
That's it.
Great name, by the way, as well.
He's a great guy. Actually celebrated his 1 year anniversary with us end of last month.
Oh, amazing.
Yep, he's helping a lot of people. Okay, awesome. And then so you've now landed your role. Can you run us through, actually give us a detail, what was your specific job title that you were in? And then now give us a little bit more detail about the role that you just landed with CyberCX and what your new job title is.
Yeah, absolutely. So my current role in terms of what I'm doing is a product consultant. So I work with different parts of my company to really secure a good software around what the staff need. Yep. And work with different vendors on those parts as well. But the role that I'm actually getting into has really tapped into the training and education piece that I've been doing over the last few years. Mm-hmm. So the role itself is with CyberCX, and it's a cybersecurity education consultant. So really working around the education and training piece of what cybersecurity is. Yep. Both on an external company side, but also internally with the CyberCX staff as well. Amazing.
And so is that also targeting SMEs and educating them?
Yeah, absolutely. And even working with SMEs of different capacities and different calibers around the information of what they understand and what they know. And then converting that into a way that everyone else can understand and also gain their knowledge with as well.
Awesome, mate. That's such a good role for you. And I think it shows the diversity of cybersecurity. It's not just, this is your first job in the cybersecurity field, but what you're doing is you're drawing on other skills, your consulting skills, project management skills in your current role, and you can easily just transfer that industry to industry. So, they're showing you don't have to have certifications or a degree or a master's as long as your arm, and you just need to have you need to be a good fit for the organization, but those transferable skills are probably also really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just focused on the technical side as well. There's a lot of discussion around network security, penetration testing, and also ethical hacking. But cybersecurity is so much more than just focusing on the attacks and the way that we can defend against those. It's about the frontline knowledge as well. So it's a really good part of the industry to be in, because you'll be learning a lot about those that are already in those particular areas as well.
It's a great part to be in, because, as I said at the start of the podcast, it is still like a mysterious industry. People hear about it all the time. Sometimes even I hear some experts talking about it, and they struggle to explain in layman's terms what it is and how you can protect organisations, or how organisations can get themselves out of a sticky situation like Optus, because we're still figuring that stuff out. And so that then has an effect on the perception in the public, right, of what it is. And so there's a huge education piece that still needs to be done for, a long, long, long time So I'm glad that you're in that space. It's, it's kind of like a niche booming industry inside of the cybersecurity field. So there's obviously the education space. Then there's the technical side that we often hear about. There's the consulting side that we often hear about as well. And then there's another space that I see that's booming, is the business development side of things as well. So for anyone listening, or anyone out there that has a bit of a sales background or a business development background but doesn't have any cybersecurity technical skills or technical knowledge, then that's also, I see, a huge trend towards, someone needs to win the work, right?
Absolutely. It needs to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. And tell us a little bit more about the whole recruitment process, how it went down, because I was involved. Maybe tell the story of deciding, I'm going to actually go for this role, because it's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Adam and I had been speaking for quite some time around what roles would be right for my background and my transferable skills. We were looking at the Cyber CX Academy in terms of jumping into that. But we decided that the type of role that would probably more suit my transfer across would probably be something that is a little bit more in line with my education and consulting background. That way I can get into the industry, but also not lose those transferable skills that I had already gained over the years that I worked with different companies. So Adam and I actually talked about a strategic role in Cyber CX, which I had applied for and gone through the process of taking that on board and discussing with Cyber CX what that type of role would be. That type of role really kind of actually didn't suit my my background. So what we had discussed was moving into more of an education piece. Yep. So I reached out to Adam again, discussed the role, the capabilities of the role, and gained some advice from Cyber Revolution themselves in terms of what I can do to help myself secure this role. So that advice that was provided was, it was very key in me being able to secure the type of role that I have over the last couple of months.
Yeah, no, it's great. I remember vividly that we were having a conversation over Zoom, and we were going to be applying for the Cyber CX Academy like we do with a lot of our entry-level roles. And there was one that was, I guess, more of a mid-level role that came up for you. And, you only miss the shots that you don't take. I'm a big fan of just going, you know what, let's go for it. Apply for these roles. Whether you get to the second stage interview round and, it's a no, then you've at least learnt a lot through that process. So I remember you saying, should we apply? Should I not apply? Am I not qualified for the role? Absolutely apply. And then look where it's ended you up in a role that is kind of a hand in glove fit for you.
Absolutely. And, the worst thing that you can get back is a no. But that no isn't just a no, it comes with feedback.
Yep.
So the feedback is the key important part that really helped with this the ability for this next role to come into fruition for me. So that feedback from the Cyber CX recruitment process as well was invaluable. Although it was a no, and it was upsetting to always receive a no, but the advice that was provided after that was invaluable, to be honest.
Yep. No, they're great. We always hear such amazing things from the students, whether it's a yes or a no, about the recruitment process at Cyber CX and a lot of our placement partners. It isn't. We get specific feedback on every single student, and they'll say, actually, you know what? Go away, work on X, Y, and Z areas, and come back and apply in a few months' time, because they've got the jobs, right? There's no lack of interviews or vacancies in roles with
Absolutely.
the skills. Go back, work on it for a couple of months, and then apply again. And we see it time and time again. Students are then successful. So it's great. All right, moving on to actually what we do for you and the training. How have you found the training and the support that you've received from Cyber Revolution?
Yeah, absolutely. The training in terms of what I've seen in the industry is second to none. The way that all the courses are laid out, the way that the trainers on the courses discuss the information that you need to understand to get those certifications is quite amazing. And not just that, the support from the student success team, in particular with timings where we can always link up and talk through the next steps. That it's been second to none, as I mentioned before. I haven't seen any other industry leaders putting out this type of education or this type of training. So it is quite amazing to see someone that has given such a structured and detailed education piece to the industry.
Oh, thanks, Matt. That means a lot. And I know that I think it was Isabella that was looking after you, always said really good things about you and enjoyed the sessions that she had with you as well. And I think you touched on something that's quite important, right? Like structure. You have to have that structure, especially with online training, which our programs are all online, flexible training, right? If you don't have that structure or that accountability, you can easily just drift off into the ether and go, this is too hard, or, Christmas is coming up, or X, Y, and Z excuses come out, and then you never actually achieve the goals that you've set out for.
Absolutely.
That's probably the one thing that has stood out for me with what you've just said is, the structure is key, and we thrive on, almost monthly we catch up with the delivery team and try and make that structure and that strategy better outcomes for the students.
Absolutely. I think those that are currently in, their positions as well, it's a good way for, I was working full time, and I am working full time whilst I was doing this. So being able to have that structure there was quite important because, a project would come along and I'd get sucked into that. But I know that I had to get this finished by the end of the week before I discussed everything with Isabella as well. So you're not just focused on yourself, but there is also someone else there to help you along with the process. So it's just quite amazing.
Yeah, great, mate. And what are you most excited for? Like now that you're in the industry, like it is a very exciting time because it's a great industry, right? But also you're now with the largest cybersecurity firm in the Southern Hemisphere, and they're growing and an exciting company to be a part of. What are you most excited about for the future?
I think the learning, to be honest, the people that are in CyberCX and the organisation that I'm going into, they have, infinite amount of background information and experience within the industry. So for myself coming in as someone that hasn't really delved into the deepness of what cybersecurity is, being able to learn off those that are SMEs in the field, that are, well, as I put it, heavy hitters in the industry, it's invaluable for me. So I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years of being able to just dive in head first and just learn.
Great, mate. No, you're definitely in the right field if you're a lifelong learner. I was speaking to someone from CyberCX at a conference maybe about 3 months ago or so. They've been in the industry for 30 years, which is rare to see, like purely in the cybersecurity field. And he still does education and training. He still does certifications almost every couple of years.
Absolutely. And so it's something you need to be also you need to keep up with as well. There's always something new out. It's an industry that you're never going to get bored in. So it's quite interesting and it's quite exciting for the next couple of years.
Great, mate. Another thing that I think would also excite you as well, education and learning is amazing, but with education and learning and growth comes career progression. And it's okay if you don't know where you want to be in a couple of years' time or the specifics, but have you given that much thought, like what your career looks like in a couple of years' time?
Yeah, absolutely. So the good thing about joining an organisation like CyberCX is there are different pathways that you can go down. There's also different stages in, my career life cycle of what I'm looking at. This is a long-term change. So it is a long-term spot for me, and somewhere that I can progress within the organisation. So as you learn, as you become more senior, you start to progress within not just your team, but also the organisation itself. So I'm looking forward to that continuous progression of developing myself.
Definitely, mate. You're in, you're not only in the right industry, but the right company. They're so progressive, I think, with CyberCX. They've got such amazing clients as well. It's very, very, I say it time and time again, but the most exciting thing for cyber for me is, yes, you can earn great money. Yes, your lifelong learning, but it is for someone that, doesn't like being, hitting that kind of glass ceiling within the within an organization or within a career or an industry, the career progression, right? You can go from, an entry-level, mid-level, advanced level role in 5 years' time, which is just impossible for any other industry if you think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really exciting part about what's going to happen in the next 5 years, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped for you, mate. And one thing I want to finish on is some tips that you might be able to give some of the listeners. What would be your 3 top tips for somebody who's looking at getting into cybersecurity for the first time now that you've done it?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably one of the biggest things that I'd suggest is don't be afraid to join forces with someone else and ask for help. It's one of the biggest things that I found over the course of firstly doing my master's, but also then joining with Cyber Revolution. Being able to lean on someone and ask advice, like yourself, Adam, whilst I was going through the recruitment process was valuable.
Yep.
So that would be probably my first point. Second one would be don't be afraid to give it a shot. You are the master of your own destiny, but also the worst you can receive is a no, and also some feedback on how to progress. I'm a big believer in career progression, but also personal development. And without criticism or constructive criticism, you don't normally progress or learn what to do next. And the biggest thing that I can probably suggest is just to give it your all. Give it your all and continue to learn. So with the courses that I'm doing through Cyber Revolution, it is putting me into a space that I'm getting more comfortable with every day. So at the start, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what my certifications would be. I didn't know what the technical side is. But being able to just put myself into it and learn has really given me that next couple of steps of where to go and what to do. So it's really all come together as part of that learning as well.
Amazing, mate. Great tips there. And I think that's probably a good place to finish up. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know everyone's very, very busy towards the end of the year. This episode probably won't come out till the middle of January. We're shooting this now in what is it now, the 20th or the 21st of December.
4 days away from Christmas.
Exactly, mate. So I very, very much appreciate you taking your time of your day. And as I said off air, these podcasts, the feedback that we've got really, really help people just have an insight into somebody, like yourself, who has gone through it, decided to take action, didn't really know whether it was going to be, a certainty for them, and, has now landed their first job, mate. So appreciate everything, and thanks for your time.
No, I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on, Adam. And really appreciate the help that, Cyber Revolution has provided over the last couple of months, at least, for progressing myself, but also looking after those that are already with you as well.
Yep, our pleasure. And Isabella says to say hello, by the way, as well.
I'll be reaching out to her in the beginning of the year, so I'll jump on with her and say Merry Christmas and New Year's afterwards. Definitely,
guys. And so for those listening, if you did take some value out of this, or you enjoyed listening, we're going to be doing more of these, probably weekly podcasts into the new year and next year. Comment, subscribe, let your friends and family know about the podcast. So please share it. If you want to know a little bit more about the job placement program that Cameron did and went through, then just head to cyberrevolution.com.au. You can leave your details there, and someone from the team will be in touch, probably Cameron Bell, like he did with you. So thanks for listening.